Well, good morning. So my talk is going to be on catalyzing the supply chain here in this biomaterials sector. And I always like to start my presentations off with this particular picture. So this is a very common sight in Alberta. A field of baled straw, blue sky in the background. It should be because we successfully grow, market, and export millions of tons of oilseed and grain every year. So over 7 million tons of wheat grown annually in Alberta, 4 million tons of barley, and 3 million tons of canola. There's over 50,000 farms and over 50 million acres of farmland in the province. So another really common picture that we have in Alberta is this. Because in this case, we grow, market, and export millions of tons of forest products. There's over 94 million acres of forest in the province, and this industry generates revenue of about $8 billion annually and provides about 52,000 jobs in Alberta. Of course, there's two sides to this picture, unfortunately, as there always is. There's two sides to every story. The fact is, although there's 50,000 farms in Alberta, the average farm level income is only $50,000, which forces about 90% of producers to work two jobs. Farmers are challenged by falling commodity prices and increased fertilizer and fuel prices. The number of farms in Canada is decreasing because of an aging population, and the younger generation isn't getting into it. And the forestry sector isn't much better. It's being hit by increasing costs of production and caused by high energy and fiber costs. It's compounded by the downturn in the U.S. housing prices and the declining demand for newsprint. Between January 2003 and December 2009, about 50,000 mill layoffs were announced in Canada, which affected about 200 communities across the nation. So that's a bit dismal, right? So now what? I like this quote by Albert Einstein. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And I think that's why we're all here today. We're trying to solve a problem by thinking differently about it, by coming at a different approach to it. Making the same products cheaper is not the answer. Cutting costs to increase margin really only slows the bleeding. In order to solve the problems that we have in the agriculture and forestry sectors, we really have to start thinking differently. We can't continue the same thinking. We have to innovate. And we have to find new, higher value products and processes to solve these problems. We have to use new technology and find new markets to compete in. So I always like to say that innovation starts out with a dream. So when I see this picture, this is actually what I see. A car whose body is made from natural agricultural fiber. A car whose performance is actually increased by the use of that fiber. These biocomposites can be reinforced with nanomaterials as well, like nanocrystalline cellulose to make them stronger. I also see this, a building whose structure is made from natural fiber and whose heating requirements are actually reduced because the insulative properties of these materials is better than the alternatives. Or this, green chemicals who use carbohydrates as their feedstock instead of hydrocarbons. So if you and I can dream it, and we can think about all these things, and we can think about using our agriculture and forestry feedstocks in different ways for higher value applications, in ways that we've heard about from Bob and we'll hear about from others today. How do we make this happen? And how do we catalyze that supply chain and enable it to happen? Well, this was the challenge that was posed by the Alberta government to the Alberta Biomaterials Development Centre. This provincial initiative was created 3 years ago with a $9 million grant from the Alberta government. It's a joint initiative by 3 ministries: Sustainable Resources Development, Alberta Agriculture, and Alberta Innovates Technology Futures. It's also a virtual center. The idea wasn't to create some new space or some new research institute, but it was meant to support and enhance the existing R&D. And its main goal is the commercialization of new technologies and products. So our strengths. Our strengths include the fact that we have pre-commercial scale processing. We have the ability to break down lignocellulosic material, like those agricultural and forestry feedstocks, down by mechanical and chemical methods at a large enough scale to demonstrate technology beyond the bench. For example, with that $9 million grant, we were able to purchase this particular pilot plant, which now resides in Vegreville. It's a 1 ton an hour fiber processing facility, so we're able to take straw and break it down mechanically into precise geometries to be used as feedstocks in some of these other areas that we're hearing about, like nanocrystalline cellulose. These are also some of our capabilities: feedstock development, processing and conversion, and finally into the bioproducts. So we have that whole value chain. But most importantly, I think what we offer is an interdisciplinary team. So I have the fantastic privilege of working with engineers, chemists, agronomists, producers, manufacturers, entrepreneurs, and business consultants. Together, we deliver services that we've entitled From Seed to Final Product. So we have the ability to develop new feedstocks or enhance the properties of those feedstocks and get it all the way down into a final prototype. So with this combination of labs, equipment, people, we have the ability to create prototypes. Prototypes like pulp, paper, biocomposites, structural and decorative panels, biofuels, and biochemicals. So what we're trying to do is this: take something that's demonstrated at the lab scale and be able to scale it up. So take it from this through the processing to some intermediate product to a final product. And the ultimate goal isn't to demonstrate or prototype, but it's to commercialize. So the ultimate goal isn't each individual step, but it's the connection of them. And I think that's also certainly one of our strengths. We're really trying to connect the different points in the process, and also make sure that if a point in the process or in that value chain is not there, we have the ability to attract businesses into the province to fill that gap. So this is what I like to call the ABDCs of creating industry. And it's essentially what the process that we've developed over the past 3 years. So obviously we have the ability here in the province to create new processes and products. What we've done is we've selected the appropriate pilot plant equipment for industry use to do that scale up. We have this interdisciplinary team that's available to people. And we have the ability to track new businesses and entrepreneurs where there's gaps in that value chain. I only have a moment, so I just want to talk about this particular example. This is a success story of ours. This company down in Calgary is called ACAMP, and they've developed a grass-growing mulch, and it's a proprietary blend of agricultural fiber and chemistry. And this product performs better than anything else in the market. And so together, with the use of a lot of our resources, both the lab scale and the people, we were able to connect them with funding, and now they're able to actually build that plant in Calgary. So it's a fantastic story of something that was developed here and was scaled up here and is now being commercialized here. And that's really that's what our success stories are about. And I also want to make sure that you understand that it's not just in this particular sector, but it also applies to the nano micro industry as well. So thank you very much.